Hey guys, LevelWho here with a new Level Up mini-series. This one's dedicated to the tank. I'll have 3 videos, this one covering offense, another covering defense, and then a third with some gunner tactics or gameplay commentary. Don't forget, there are a few additional tank tips I covered in my previous quick tip series that I won't be covering again here, so check those out if you're hungry for more. With that said, let's get straight to those offensive tips. Now, aiming with the main gun is a lot about judging distances and being conscious of your bullet drop. However, there are a few reference points in both tanks that you can use to judge an enemy tank's distance. If you take a look at this image, you can see a few reference points. The rangefinder at the bottom unfortunately only goes up to 199 meters, but if whatever you're looking at shows up at 0, you know it's at least farther away than that. If you can accurately gauge the distance to your target, you can use these reference points to hit targets at large distances. In this next shot, I identify that the enemy tank is at 196 meters using my rangefinder. Then, I adjust so that the tank is just above the 200-meter line and fire. Over time, you can begin to judge the tank's distance based on how wide the tank is across the horizontal measurements. I highlighted the compass and barrel angle in the previous capture because they are actually useful for lining up shots when they're out of sight. I did test these markers at lower resolutions and they were still accurate, but there's still a fair amount of adjustments that need to be made if you aren't on level ground, etc. The bottom line is that if you're just guessing for now, don't worry about it. Being aware of these reference points will put you at a significant advantage compared to someone who doesn't know about them. Let's talk a bit about close range shots. There are actually a few places you can aim for to take advantage of the tank's hitboxes. In this next shot, I disable the enemy tank from what is almost a straight shot. The shot registers on the enemy tank's rear armor. The key when shooting the Abrams is to aim at the back slope of the tank as close to the center of the turret as possible. The same shot can be performed against the T-90, but it's a good deal harder. It's best to try and aim for these rear flaps or vents, the sack of the tank, you might say. In both shots, the enemy tank has reactive armor on the sides, but not on the back, just to demonstrate that I'm not hitting the sides. Remember, if the enemy tank has reactive armor on the back, this would still be absorbed by the reactive armor. You can use a similar tactic if you know the enemy tank's side reactive is down. If you aim for just above the opposite tread, you can register a shot on that side instead of the side facing you. This isn't as helpful versus a poor tanker, but it can be very effective against a tanker who rotates his reactive armor, a tactic that I'll be covering in the next episode. Again, this tank has reactive armor, but because I shoot above the opposite tread, the shot registers on the side that doesn't have reactive armor. You can even take advantage of hitboxes on the tank destroyer. If you aim for the turret, you can sometimes bypass reactive armor, or at minimum have your shot register as a rear hit. This next shot doesn't do any damage to the tank, but if you're in a situation where the enemy tank is being repaired, you can just shoot to the right or left of the back tread to do damage to the enemy engineer. The last piece of offensive advice I can give applies only to the US tank. It's what we call tank sex. Basically, just ram the enemy tank with the Abrams and you have a high probability of flipping it. Until next time, I'll leave you with some hot tank-on-tank action. Ba bam bam ba dam bam.